Hey guys, Julian here. Today I'm trying a little bit of a different tutorial. I wanted to show you how to make your pianos in Ableton and like virtual pianos in general. Get more of that kind of like, like Nils Frahm. I know I'm probably pronouncing all these names horribly wrong. Ólafur Arnalds, like Jon Hopkins, Abandoned Window, like this kind of like sort of more soft and rich and like very delicate piano sound. And really like a very modern piano sound because the Ableton piano, it's not the worst piano, but it's also definitely not the best piano out there. As you can hear, I mean, if you've ever used it, it's not exactly the nicest, but it can get the job done if you know how to work with it. So today I'm going to show you how to do that. So to start off with, I just have this little loop. It's just two chords. It's just an F and an A minor. And you can see these are just like triads, very simple chords, just like 1, 3, 5, or 1, 4, 5, 1, 3, 5, all that kind of music theory stuff. And it just doesn't sound like really rich. It's like way too bright. There isn't like nice low end. There isn't very soft, delicate high end like I was talking about. So we gotta do a few things to fix that. Now the first thing that we can do is I'm going to take the fourth, which is this middle note, and the third of the second chord, and put them up an octave. And the way that I know these are the third and the fourth, by the way, if you are like curious for music theory, is you just count up. So like from the root. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to move the third, the fourth, and the third and the fourth up an octave. Oops. And now this is going to sound a little bit more full. You'll see what I'm talking about. So like by splitting the voices more like this and sort of giving them a little bit more space in between the notes, you improve the clarity, you improve like your ability to sort of comprehend what you're listening, like you kind of hear it a little bit clearer, like I'm saying. Basically the clarity of each note is just improved a lot by doing this. Now, as you can hear, this isn't entirely everything, but it is helping quite a bit. The next thing that we can do to make this sound more rich and full, like I've been talking about, is I'm going to double up the highest note and the lowest note up and down an octave. So I'm going to take these ones and duplicate them, move them down an octave. Oops. And then I'm going to duplicate these ones and move them up an octave. I don't know. Okay. So now it's going to sound like this. And you can hear the piano is a lot more full-bodied and more it just feels like bigger and warmer. And it's because we've got like we're spanning a lot of the keyboard here by doing this. And this really helps doing this kind of stuff. And this isn't just for this kind of music either too. I notice people do this with their chords, and I do this with my chords a lot when I'm making like all kinds of music, like electronic music especially. And yeah, it just really helps because you get a more full-bodied sound, like I'm saying. Like, you really got, like, low frequencies, and you've got very high frequencies. And you're not just limiting yourself to, like, one little octave. You're really spreading the chords out as much as you can and making them sound really full. Now, the next thing that we can do, because this is kind of stiff and a little bit too, like, hard hitting, like, it sounds like you're hitting the piano keys a little bit too hard, is we're going to start messing with the velocities. So what I tend to do is I'll make the lower notes lower in velocity, and then the higher notes, not necessarily like way higher in velocity, but a little bit higher. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take these lower notes, and I'll move them down to like that. Just make them a little bit softer. And I'm going to take the 2/5, these notes, and move those down, maybe a little bit louder. And then I'll take these top highest notes, and I'll usually just put those about where the fifth are, maybe a little bit louder, or where the fifths are. Wow, I just cannot talk today. But yeah, and now this is gonna sound a little bit better. You can hear. It's a lot more like balanced. And I'm gonna turn these high notes down just a little bit more. But you see, like, it's very subtle what I'm actually doing, as you can tell. But we're almost sort of like mixing the piano this way because you obviously, like, you know, if you had a bass and then like a lead and then like some vocals, you would have to mix the levels of those. So since we're spanning across the entire keyboard here, we need to mix these levels a little bit as well using the velocity. So this sounds pretty good now. But it's missing one thing, and that is a little bit of sort of randomness in the velocities. Because like when you play the piano, you never play with exactly the same like velocity. Essentially, you never like are gonna do exactly the same thing because it's just impossible. It's human error. So we need to recreate that with the computer, and the way we can do that is with this MIDI effect called velocity. I'm sure you know of it. There's a preset called Add Some Random that you can grab, and we're gonna change this a little bit to make it work more for our for this application. So what this Add Some Random does is, as you can imagine, add some random velocities. There's also total random, which just goes completely random. We don't want that because that's not gonna sound real. That's not like when you play a piano, you don't just like look away and hit it wherever you want. You play it as more of like a nuanced, subtle thing. And so that's why we want a nuanced and subtle randomness. So I'm going to turn up the random a little bit, like maybe like that. And we're going to set the low level to like that. And the high. This is just the highest and the lowest velocity that it can go to, that you'll like allow it to go to. And with that, it's going to sound pretty good. Now, you can sort of, you know, change it a little bit as you go on and dial it in. But that's essentially the sound. And you hear, it really kind of feels more like someone's playing it because it's a lot, yeah, there's like randomness to it. It's not ever exactly the same. So after this, we're getting there. It's pretty close. It's about maybe like 80% or 90% of the way there, but we need to do a few more things to it. So the first thing I want to do is we need to make this a little bit more delicate. It's a little too bright right now. And now, what a lot of these people are doing when they make this kind of music is they're using like an upright piano and then putting felt, I think like woven in between the strings or something. I don't know, I've never done it, but this is what I read online, is that especially like Nils Frahm, he's talked about this a lot, is like a lot of his piano sounds are, yeah, like you take a piano and you put felt on the strings, and what it does is it makes it this like very delicate, like soft, warm sound. It just sounds very like, the best way I can describe it is like very fresh and new. Like it doesn't feel like I'm listening to like old classical music. I'm listening to like something like a new direction. And a lot of it really has to do with the way these pianos sound and like how they have the sonic characteristics of it. So to recreate this, since we can't put felt in a Ableton rack, we're gonna get an EQ8, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of a low pass to take off some of those like harsher top frequencies or high frequencies. About like that is good. Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. Oh, whoops. And so now you can hear the highs are a little bit more tame. It's not like super bright, like and yeah, so that really helps. Now the last thing that you can do, and this one may seem a little bit more obvious, is reverb, but I want to show you how to sort of use it to get this sound, or get like the sort of like ambient kind of sound these people are using a lot. So I just dropped an Ableton reverb on. I'm gonna go to high quality, and I'll turn off the spin, turn off the chorus. I just don't really like those. And then we're gonna turn the decay time up a bunch, and maybe like a little bit of more dry wet, like about there, 63%. And now you can hear. You really get that like big ambient kind of like Jon Hopkins abandoned window type of sound. And you know, you can really play with the reverb to help you too, because you don't always have to use it as like a super big one like this. You could also dial it back, so like keep the dry wet maybe like there, and just turn the decay time down a bunch, and turn down the size, and you can make it like kind of more controlled. And just get a little bit of ambience from it and a little bit of like life. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to leave this project file in the description. You can probably see already in the title of the video that I'm going to leave this project file in the description, and you guys can download it and, mess around with this or use it for whatever you want. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this video. I really appreciate it if you could like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Share it with somebody. Check out my sample packs in the description. And yeah, guys, have a great day.